Hi, this is Carl, and this is part two of the discussion on the use of the question words que, cuál, and cuáles in Spanish. And what I did in part one was to give a summary of the rules which govern when one question word has to be used rather than either of the other two. And as I mentioned in part one, what I was going to do in part two was to offer a quiz whereby I would read a number of examples of questions in English, each of which contains the word que, cuál, or cuáles when translated into the target language, and then explain why the appropriate question word is in fact being used. Offering at the same time anybody out there who is learning Spanish the opportunity to pause after each example, try and translate each of the examples into the target language, consider the rules as to why one particular question word is being used rather than either of the other two, and then, as I say, I will give the relevant explanation as well. So here we are with the examples which I have as part of the quiz. But just before I move on to those, what I want to do is to summarize very briefly the rules governing que and cuál and cuáles. We use que if we're asking for an explanation or a definition of something. We also use que if that is going to be followed immediately by a noun. For example, in English we say, which bird is the largest in the world? We have which followed immediately by a noun, in which case we can't say cuál ave or cuál pájaro. We have to say que pájaro, que ave. Where cuál is concerned, if the implied meaning is which one, then we can use cuál. Similarly, in the plural form, if the implied meaning is which ones, we can use the question word cuáles. And also, if there is a noun reference within the question and we're after one answer from a range of answers, then we will use cuál and cuáles respectively. The example which I gave in part one was, what are the symptoms? ¿Cuáles son los síntomas? And what the reason for that being is that there are a number of symptoms for a number of different illnesses, and we need to ascertain which symptoms refer specifically to the illness that we're talking about out of all the symptoms which exist for not only the illness that we're talking about, but also for a number of different illnesses as well. But that will become clear as I read out the examples which I have in the quiz. So here we are. And as I said, do feel free to pause after each one, after I give each example in English, to give you time to think of the Spanish translation and also the reason as to why the appropriate question word is being used. What are we doing with all this? ¿Qué hacemos con todo esto? We're asking for an explanation. What does that mean? ¿Qué significa eso? We're asking for a definition. What do you want? ¿Qué quieres? We're asking for an explanation of what the person wants. Which do you want? ¿Cuál quieres? In the sense of which one do you want? What company does he work at? ¿En qué compañía trabaja? We have que followed immediately by a noun, which or what company in Spanish, ¿qué compañía? What are the last two letters of the word? ¿Cuáles son las últimas dos letras de la palabra? There are many letters which we have to choose from, and we need to ascertain the last two letters of the, let's say for example, the 26 letters of the English alphabet, which it could be. What are the risks? ¿Cuáles son los riesgos? We need to ascertain which risks apply out of all the different risks which apply to other things as well. Which is the brand name of your PC? ¿Cuál es la marca de tu PC? There are many brand names for computers, and we're after the name of just one brand name for a computer. What material is this shirt made from? ¿De qué material es esta camisa? Que is followed immediately by a noun, material. What does she study at university? ¿Qué estudia en la universidad? We need an explanation. Which is the cheapest? ¿Cuál es el más barato? Which one is the cheapest out of those which we have available to us? What do you mean? ¿Qué quieres decir? We're asking for an explanation of the thing, what the person is trying to convey to us in his or her explanation. Which is the tallest building in the world? ¿Cuál es el edificio más alto del mundo? There are many buildings in the world. We're just after the name of the one building, i.e. the one which is the tallest. What are you going to do with the plants? ¿Qué vas a hacer con las plantas? An explanation. Which are the geraniums? ¿Cuáles son los geranios? Which ones are the geraniums? What do you associate it with? ¿Con qué lo asocias? No noun reference. We need to use que. What are the advantages? ¿Cuáles son las ventajas? There are many advantages. We need to know which advantages from the selection of advantages which it could be. What are the three options? ¿Cuáles son las tres opciones? We have a range of different possibilities. We have multiple choice, therefore use cuáles. What type of butterfly is it? ¿Qué tipo de mariposa es? ¿Qué plus a noun, type, ¿qué tipo? Now I will leave it there as I think time is nearly out, and I'm sorry I didn't get round to doing all the 20 questions, but if you do have any questions or doubts, then please do feel free to leave a comment.